Happy Friday and welcome to the Grandma's Wealth Wisdom channel on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Facebook, welcome. If you're catching the replay, special welcome to you. And if you're joining us live, thanks for joining us live. We would love your participation in the comments. So any thoughts, ideas, things that you want to share as we go, please participate there. And now join me in welcoming Sheila. Sheila, I've gotten to meet and talk with a little bit, and her and I think a lot similarly about what it means to be a human and the ways that we can grow as people. And in particular, Sheila helps high performing women affected by alcohol in the family system to improve their relationships by healing some of those abandonment wounds. And she's got a 5-step self-love method, which I love that. Self-love. I think we're going to dig into that a lot here today. I put the link to Sheila's website in the description of this video, but it's lovechange.me. I'm going to put that on the screen as well so you can see that. Sheila, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I'm so grateful to be here. Happy Friday to you and everyone tuning in.
Great. Give us a little bit of the story behind the bio.
You got it. So it's been a 10-year journey in life coaching and health coaching. And what I didn't realize is that I had been on that search. I had been seeking. And what I come to realize is that sometimes it's healing those abandonment wounds from childhood, any type of trauma. So trauma is anything that didn't feel good or safe or secure to you in trauma. So just a birth is traumatic, right? And then also, none of us got all the tools, right? And so the place that I'm really stepping into is emotional intelligence. And, we've grown up in a society where we've been conditioned to think or believe that, emotions are bad or wrong. We don't talk about those things. And actually, I just learned last year that they're actually okay. They actually are filled with so much information about ourselves. And when I'm working with women and talking about, they have all the things, right? They feel like they're married, they've got the kids, the house, the dog, the job, but there's something at their core that they're still not happy with. And so really my goal in the path that I've been on is to stop that search of finding something outside of yourself that's not totally fulfilling you, right? And we have a lot of thoughts and beliefs that come up around, am I good enough? Am I worthy? I don't want to ask for what I want. That's scary. And so really the goal is just sort of being on your own side and learning how to ask those questions and coming from that place of love. And so I named my practice Love Change, and I created the 5-step self-love method because what if we could infuse love where there is change? We all sort of fear change. And in the last 7 months, if we've learned anything at all, I think it's that change is a constant. So if we can begin to start normalizing change and come at it with a place of love instead of that fear, it's just a much better feel. And so I've put together my 5 top tips that I have used that have helped me on the journey to return to myself, to return to love. And so, so that's the beauty of the work. And I love talking about love. So,
yeah. Kind of obviously, but maybe not obvious. When I'm working with people, they're going through a lot of change with their money. They're ready to finally get a handle on it. They are looking for a way to change their story so far about money and change it into a different way. And definitely love, pun intended, the idea of bringing love into that kind of transformation. Can you maybe tell a story of how you've seen someone or maybe yourself go from, through this journey of transformation and be able to incorporate love into that change?
Yes. Gosh, there's so many stories I could tell. And I think money is such a difficult topic for many of us to talk about. It's very emotional, right? Yeah. We have a lot of thoughts and beliefs and things that we've grown up seeing from our perspective around money, whether that's good, bad, indifferent. So it's really, I think, getting clear on what is your money story. I think we all have one. And then teaching how to rewrite that story, if you will. And that can be a little scary because then we think, well, who would I be without my story, right? But the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So it will actually do what you tell it. And so if you can rewrite and heal those patterns around money, you'll find that it's just a much better feel. So I think, when it is a delicate and difficult subject at times, but I think it's something that, that I call that's the work. If we're feeling triggered by it, or we're bumping up against it because it doesn't feel good for us, that's a really good call for me to have with somebody, to sort of just let's talk about where you're at. I meet people where they're at on the journey, and a lot of times, especially for women, they're afraid to ask for what they want. They're afraid to ask their spouse, "Oh, I really want to do this," but it just gets uncomfortable and awkward. And then a lot of times, the people around us maybe aren't supportive with our goals and dreams, and so they might say, "Oh, well, you know how to do that. Why would you pay for that?" But then again, it's like at the same time, it's like, well, are you where you desire to be today? And sometimes it's hard to ask for help, but I think that's where we need to come into that awareness of, if we're circling around and we're still not in the place in life that we desire to be, then it's actually okay to ask for help and seek out a professional that this is their dream. This is what they love to do. So I feel like if we're not doing that, we're sort of robbing each other of the gifts, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like if someone sees like this opportunity for change and they want to go through it, but they're scared, and they're not ready to do the work. What a professional like you or me could helps do is give them the confidence and the self-love enough, right, to feel ready to ask for like that change from themselves, from the people they're around, that kind of thing. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I would say that a majority of my clients have been following me for some time. They have admitted that it's taken them about a year to reach out, just because it is very vulnerable, right? To sit with ourselves and be with ourselves, to ask for help. Again, it's a lot of that conditioning from childhood where those beliefs start to come up, right? Like, oh, I should be able to do this on my own, or, things like that. And so, it is hard, and people say, well, isn't this work just exhausting? Just working on yourself, and when does it end? And is there a quick fix? And it's like, well, yes, it is exhausting. And no, there's no quick fix, but you're worth it. And so, it's just trying on those new beliefs for a little bit. And I think a lot of people, they crave being heard. They want to be seen. They want to be known. They want to be understood. And so when all those sort of outer things in the world are no longer serving them, I think that's a really big sign to then let's turn within and find out what's going on internally, because what's showing up for you externally is definitely connected and correlated to something that's going on internally, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually. And so my gift is taking a look at that whole person and finding out, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Let's play to the strengths, and let's put some accountability, perspective, goals in place to have you work towards something, right? Yeah. And the thing is, you get better as you go along, but I've found that you have to move through those things. You need those tools in your toolkit. Same for you, right? You're empowering and educating people to have those tools in their toolkit when it comes to their finances.
Yeah. So describe for me, like, when a person comes to you, they're ready to work with you, where they're at, and how you help them to love change and go through that transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I offer a free 30-minute initial call, and it's an empowerment chat, just to ask you some questions, get to know you a little bit, understand, what's the problem that you're facing? How long might you have been facing this problem? What's your biggest challenge? What's getting in the way of you solving that? And then what do you need for it to be a yes? Do you need permission? Do you need some time to think about it? those kinds of things. And so it's a no pressure call. It's just, to see if we're a fit and how I can support. And then basically it's setting up a plan, and then talking every week to make sure that you're staying on course with what's going on. And then also you get off course because life happens. And so it's okay. And so I think that's the biggest thing that people love is just validating that, life got in the way. I didn't get to do my work this week. Okay, no problem. Let's continue to hone in and perfect this as much as we can. Nothing's perfect, but we have to figure out the way that's going to work best for you, because no one way works for everybody. Yeah. So it's really uniquely designed to get into sort of the deeper things. And so it's a process. It takes some time, but I always tell people it can happen as quickly or as slowly as you like. It's your program and you get to choose.
Yeah. It sounds like a conversation I was just having a couple hours ago with one of my clients where it's so easy for us to not think about the hard things, the things that we want to improve on, what the big decisions around money or relationships or whatever. But to have that person that's going to be checking in with you on a weekly basis or a regular schedule to remind you, hey, you mentioned you wanted to do this. How is that going? Right. And what steps are you taking and what are you going to do? Stuff like that. Just helps make that that process of change go faster because they're bringing it to your mind and giving you the confidence that you can make decisions and move forward. So I love that. That sounds really great. And then when it comes to helping people to love themselves, more and be able to move forward, what are some of the most important things you think, especially women, we need to know in this area?
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite quotes is, it comes from a book called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And it's actually required reading for all my clients now because it has just been a complete game changer. I have it sitting right on my desk and I refer to it often. Have you read the book?
I haven't, but I've heard so many of her interviews and I've heard the different stories that are, in the book that I'm like, yes, love it.
Yeah. So it's really shifted a lot of my ways of being and my mindset. And one of her most famous quotes is, "This is hard. We can do hard things." Or if you're scared, do it scared. Yeah. And I love that because it's, there are a lot of hard things and it's just a beautiful reframe on, checking in with yourself. So I think to answer your question, I think mindset is the biggest thing. And that's the first, one of the first things in my 5-step self-love method is checking in with that inner roommate, that voice that's talking in your head, that ego, that chatter, right? And a lot of times what you'll find, and this is a lot of fear and resistance to doing this work, is that it's sitting in that discomfort. It's noticing those negative, toxic, complaining beliefs that are swirling around in our head, right? Now, we're only accessing about 5% of our subconscious mind. So that leaves 95% that we're not even conscious of. And a lot of those thoughts just get ruminated day after day after day. And so if we're not checking in on that, we're missing out. What I realized is that fear was running my show. And the not good enough was running my show for probably 40 years of my life. And I was just unaware of it. So I think it's checking in with those thoughts, because once we do, then we can realize we are not our thoughts. we are judgmentally programmed, right? Those things come in and those may not be the truth of who we are. And so we start to discern those things and we start to reframe those and flip those things around using our mindset and doing some meditation. So it's really, just declaring and deciding, who are you here to be? Why are you here? What's your mission? What's your purpose? And we really get grounded in that. And then we move from there. So again, we're taking a look at the physical. Are you moving your body every day? Are you drinking water? Are you, what are you feeling? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling anger? We've got to take a look at those things so that we can have a starting place, and then we work from there.
Yeah. And that's when you start the implementation. I think one of your recent newsletters, that because I'm on your email list, was about some of the also like noticing what you're craving and what that's teaching you then about like the subconscious. I love that too. I think totally the direction of, tapping into the mindset, choose, deciding the goals and maybe some affirmations, that kind of thing. And then moving into the real like tangible actions, like starting, when you realize I need to drink more water, then actually like drinking more water. But also like I imagine probably some of it is like from the body and like some of the physical or like reactional kind of things like teach us some of what our subconscious is already like is thinking about. Is it, am I like, is that true? Like, how does that play a role in what you're doing?
Yes. Yes. So kind of high level on the cravings piece. So the cravings, so a lot of times we're just getting you to drink more water, right? Some of the things are really basic, but we're not doing it, And so I'm there to kind of remind you and support you in that way. Couple of the cravings, I would say, like as far as food related. So if you're craving a lot of salt, we would take a look at, are you intaking greens? Are you getting minerals and vitamins in? You may be nutrient deficient. And so you're craving that salt. The other really a couple big ones are sweet. If we're going through relationship challenges or we've lost somebody or we're seeking love, we will turn to food. That is a quick fix, right? It's everywhere. And so our body needs that sweet, the salty and the fat. But we want to make sure that we're getting, again, the whole foods that are serving our body type. So is it okay to have a donut or a piece of cake or a cookie here and there? Yeah. If we're consuming it constantly, then we take a look at that. There's no judgment. It's for me, I really try to encourage, like, we're just collecting data here. So we will track things, because when you can start to track them, you can control them, and then you can start to make those tiny shifts that are going to bring those bigger results. So the sweet one is a big one. I've made a couple chocolate cream pies during COVID, but you can start to then correlate. Oh, okay. Here's this chocolate pie. Is there something in my relationship that might not be going well right now? Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to soothe myself here with this chocolate cream pie, right? Then I can enjoy it. I'm not going to guilt myself or shame myself. I'm going to enjoy that piece of pie. But then I'm going to go and have that conversation with my husband that I need to. Make sense?
Yep, totally. Yeah. And I can totally relate this to money, right? We all kind of know we need to do things like spend less than we earn, but are we doing it? And some of that, like retail therapy, spending when we know we don't really need something is good, right? Like it helps us deal with some of those emotions, but we also have to take notice of that and say, well, what is the conversation I need to have, or the thing I need to do that I'm avoiding and doing this retail therapy instead, or something like that.
Exactly.
So a lot of like correlation there with what we put into our bodies and how we spend our money. For
sure. For sure. Yes.
So what's kind of next on the horizon? I know we're in the midst of a pandemic right now. I love to think about like the future still and think,
me too.
How can we continue to change and transform, even for ourselves? So what does that look like for you right now?
Yes. So that's a great question. And I love it. I especially love this time of year because it's the last quarter of the year. And it's a really good time to just declutter and purge. And we're getting into, the colder months. And so, our eating styles have changed. I think it's really challenging for people that have been, that are very type A, that are very used to being on the go. And I think it's brought up a lot of sort of unfinished developmental business, if you will. A lot of things that we thought were healed have resurfaced. And we're just sort of wondering, we've got a lot of time to be with ourselves and be in our home. And so, there's only so much that you can do. And so I'm really excited. And what keeps me hopeful is just trusting that everything is going to be okay, because it is. And I love to just believe in that. And if I get off course, I gratitude in my journal and reframe those things. But so what's coming up for me is hosting more pop-up groups on Facebook. I have a 3-day training coming up November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And yeah, just really holding space for women who are just like, I've tried everything. I don't know what else to do. This isn't working. What have you got for me? So it's going to be really powerful to just continue on that path. It's a beautiful time to work on ourselves. And especially, I love to get a jump start. I don't like to just start January 1st. So this is a great time of year just to kind of get a jump start. So when the new year comes, we're off and running.
Yeah, I could see this being a time, I know for myself, for other women I know, that so much focus goes into preparations for giving gifts and hosting people and, volunteering, all kinds of things that happen this time of year. And I love that you're going to use this time as a chance to remind people about the self-care and the self-love that also needs to happen and will and especially as we get into the colder months, maybe can happen more because we can't like go out and about as much as well.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Fun final question, and then we'll wrap up. It's also a little bit of a crazy time with elections and all kinds of uncertainty and things. What is bringing you hope right now?
Yeah, I think there's been so much happening. I really believe that there's been a lot of things bubbling under the surface for some time as we talk about systems and structures, whether it's political, environmental, healthcare, racism. And so, I'm an optimist, and I really believe that sometimes things need to fall and break and crack wide open so that they can be rebuilt in a newer, stronger way. That said, there's been a lot of just really awful things, really horrible things, but there's also been a lot of really great things. And I think we're just on this road to becoming, a stronger, better unit. In a lot of ways. And so I think at the end of the day, it has to start with ourselves and has to start within so that we can show up and then serve at our highest. And so I think really it's starting with yourself and getting to know yourself better. And I think doing that with the tools that I offer, and of course with what you're offering, that's a beautiful place to have that solid foundation, because it's basically the basic human needs right now, right? Like safety, security, food. Do I have enough money? Shelter. Really, it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy here, revealing itself again. But it's not a coincidence, and I really think it's all of this is happening for a reason. And so, what gives me hope again is just trusting and believing that everything is going to be okay, and that's where I'm moving from.
Yeah. Cool. I love it. So I'm going to put your website back up again, lovechange.me. What will people find when they arrive there? How do you like to connect with people? What if someone's like, I love Sheila, I got to learn more. What should I do?
Great. Thank you. Yeah. So you can go to lovechange.me. Right there, you'll have the opportunity to download the 5-step self-love method for free. You'll be added to my email newsletter list. And then you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm at Healthy Life Coach Sheila, and on Facebook under Love Change or Sheila Peterson, SEN.
Awesome. And are the Facebook groups, do you have like a link from the lovechange.me, or how do we find those?
Yes. So those are going to be uploaded soon. You can also find them on Linktree. So I'll give you the Linktree. So it's linktr.ee/Healthy Life Coach Sheila. And I'll update
one more time.
Yep. So it's linktr.ee/Healthy Life Coach Sheila.
Okay. I'm going to put that in the comments on the video.
Great.
So that
perfect.
People can hopefully just click on it from there. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Anything else you wanted to share, or parting words of wisdom for loving change and loving ourselves in this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just such a gift to be in a space of giving yourself that love. I think that this has been a really beautiful time to really turn within without all of the distractions and really decide who it is that you're here to be. And I think believing and trusting in yourself, I'm super grateful that I've had this time to be able to lean more into myself and to getting to know myself better, and who do I want to become, and what do I want to be known for, those types of things. And I think that's where a lot of people are right now. They're sort of questioning, do I want to stay where I'm living? Do I want to stay in this job? Do I want to stay in this relationship? Or maybe they're seeking new relationship. And what you're doing is beautiful too, because, well, without the money, it can be a little challenging to get there. So, I've always enjoyed our conversations, and I think what you guys are doing is amazing. And I'm just grateful that you hosted me today. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sheila. I'm going to hold on to that. Like, decide who you want to be. And when you've got that firm, it can always change, right? But if you've decided, then you can align your healthy living habits, your money, your relationships, all with that decision of who you are. And it's not you are a wife or a mother or a daughter or an employee or whatever. It's way deeper than that. And we'll have to talk more about that next time, about like what is identity and how do we identify ourselves so that we can then love who we've identified as, right? And go from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Identity, that could be a whole nother podcast, but I think it's sort of, I always equate it to like having your GPS on. So, discovering who it is that you're here to be is like, you then turn on that GPS and you've got all the coordinates to get you there, versus not. You might get there, but it'll take a bit longer of a time. But you're getting there more direct once you know.
Love it. GPS sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Sheila. And again, if you want to connect with her, lovechange.me, or check out the Linktree link in the comments, and let us know who else you'd like to see interviewed on here. Any other comments or questions you have, post them in the comments so that we can respond to those, or just reach out to Sheila directly there on her website, or me on our website, grandmaswealthwisdom.com. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.